Hello, everyone. Welcome to Limping for Jesus. I'm doing two things tonight. This is called Ask Pastor Mike. I wanted to do it tonight to test our feed on YouTube and Facebook. So if you have a question, uh, I'll do my best to answer it. I'm also going to go live on TikTok so we can have questions coming from TikTok also. So I'm going to greet those folks now. Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Mike Matthews for Limping for Jesus. Welcome to our first Ask Pastor Mike. If you have a question, uh, faith-wise, life-wise, if you want to know about disabilities, if you want to know about what it's like to be a Christian with a disability, I'll answer that question. Feel free to ask any type of question. If you're going to be a troll, um, and I won't feel it. But if you have a heartfelt question, it could be anything. It could be anything like, if you the reason why you don't track with Christianity, if you deconstruct it, I want to hear from you. I want to hear uh, from this community I'm trying to build for Limping for Jesus. The whole goal of this ministry is to help people trust God in hard things. So if you have a question, um, and let's say you always wanted to talk to a pastor, if you felt afraid to talk to a pastor, so in the comments, share your questions. I am streaming live from to Facebook and TikTok. So a little bit about myself while I'm waiting for questions. I have been a pastor for over 20 years. I started in youth ministry at 24, and then that whole time I was also a disability rights advocate, because I was part of the independent living movement. We fought for equal rights on state and federal issues. I was born with a disability called cerebral palsy, so CP impacts the way I walk. I have a limp. My wife thought that I was cute because my pickup line on my dating profile was, I make cerebral palsy the sexiest of all the palsies. So I had enough game to get her. But so my disability impacts the way I walk. It impacts my speech. I've had over 20 some surgeries in my life. I became a Christian at 19. I am, unlike the candidate for a pastor, I did not want anything to do with Christianity. So if you join me on YouTube, this is Ask Pastor Mike. I'm fielding questions from YouTube, TikTok, Twitter. If you want a question asked, I would say ask away. I'm just explaining to people on TikTok who I am. So um, I have seen the worst in religion. I've experienced all kind of church hurt. So I became a Christian at 19, after being told crazy things from Christianity. Um, you know it, you probably have heard it, that there's a segment of Christianity that believes and that God wants everyone to be healed. Everyone that if you don't have enough faith to be healed, it's your fault. But I am living proof that God can use people with disabilities. And the way I became a Christian was after reading a Bible passage called 2 Corinthians 12:9, which says, "My grace is sufficient for you. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." So I learned that God uses people like me and uses suffering and trials for His glory. So I am living proof that religion don't always know God's plan. So as a pastor, I want to help other people know Him and trust Him. The concept of this ministry, Limping for Jesus, my tagline is limp well for Jesus and limp loved for Jesus. So I want to help other people limp well for Jesus. Limping is not just physical, it is emotional, it is spiritual, it is relational. A lot of us have been hurt by people in and outside the church. We have dating pain, marriage pain, widow pain, divorce pain, remarriage, and all that stuff. My wife and I cover a lot of that in the ministry. We are trying to be a real platform. I see a comment from one of my friends. Chris, thanks for commenting and cheering me on. So, yeah, I want to help people, and I want to be a pastor that is accessible to people so they can ask questions. So if you have a question, go ahead, ask away. Anything from about suffering, about, about disability, about me dropping the phone. Okay, so I want to know. Uh, yeah, it would be nice if I could swipe right. Okay, all right. I was a guest speaker for a long time. Um, I have seen a lot in life and ministry. So, yeah, it's not always easy to trust in God when his people seem like total jerks. Jesus says on the cross at one point that forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. But sometimes it feels like people do know what they're doing. So when people hurt us, and I did a sermon today that you can go find on YouTube called "Revenge is Not Our Job." Uh, Someone asked me if I'm single. No, and my wife is probably watching. So, hey, baby, I'm not trying to get chicks on here. So, no, yeah, I am married. I am on my second marriage. My first marriage was for uh 15 years. Someone asked, "Can I join a relationship?" No, because I don't need to have two women pissed off at me. So no thanks. My wife just answered. That's hilarious. Men who try to juggle multiple relationships, I don't understand why they do it. I don't have enough energy to cheat. So, and my wife, I love her. She's an introvert, but um, I really think, um, yeah, that question on TikTok. Hi, I see that you're trying to be funny. Yeah, I don't think pegging gets you into hell, but yeah. So enjoy what you do. So I know a lot of times Christianity um, focus on a couple of things. Uh, uh, does does God hate Mexicans? Well, his name is Jesus, so I don't think. So I know you guys are just I know the internet. Um, it cracks me up. No, God is not racist. I'll just fill that to you right now. When I am a white dude, no surprise there, right? But I worship a Jewish Messiah. The Messiah is Jewish. He doesn't look like the blue eye, blonde hair, uh, good old boy Jesus that is depicted sometimes. So I know you're just being funny and trolling. So no, our God is not racist. There's one human race. We recognize there are differences, but God loves people, and every person is made in the image of God. Black, white, Chinese, uh, able-bodied, disabled. We're all fearfully and wonderfully made. So I hope that you have a safe word, whatever you're doing out there. I hope that you are. Uh, I hope that answers your questions. So I don't mind if people ask tough questions, but yeah. So for you home viewers on Facebook and TikTok, I am answering questions on TikTok Live, and we all know how the internet works. So people are going to ask all kind of crazy questions. So we answer some of those questions. So uh, I didn't expect that my first Ask Pastor Mike anything segment would be hit on. Uh, Good thing my wife's in the comments. So I have her eyes on me. I have witnesses that I am not being shady on the internet. But I did say that Sarah liked my pickup line when we were dating. I said that I made cerebral palsy the sexiest of all the palsies, and I still believe that. I make palsy look good. I always joke that I don't want to die like when I'm 90. I want to die when I'm still pretty, so people can feel like, hey man, he had CP, but he looked good, didn't he? So I jest. But so if you're joining us on YouTube or Facebook, I am fielding questions. I have my camera running. I have my Bible up and ready. I'm just reading uh, the the comments here. We have so everyone that's joining. We have a lot of people joining on TikTok. Feel free to ask questions. I am honest here. I'm trying to be as transparent as I can. I know that a lot of pastors are scared to do this. Okay, they're scared to be found out. They're scared to be uh, um, vulnerable. Years ago, I was at a conference and um, we were talking about Christian accountability for leadership. And then one pastor said his only accountability partner was Jesus. Now, here's what happens. I did a podcast the other day about why pastors quit. Why pastors quit are multiple reasons. One is because there's an expectation to be perfect. And I always told people behind the pulpit that I was a hot mess, but I was God's hot mess. Yes, there's a standard on pastors to walk the walk and talk the talk, but no pastor is going to be perfect. But in Christianity, is put people on pedestals and then tear them down. Christianity, there's a saying in this that we're the army that shoot our own, right? So as a pastor, I've always been somebody that is transparent. I am transparent to a fault. I am working on that personally. I am a classic people pleaser, but say that I'm in recovery of that because I'm starting to have healthy boundaries. But I believe as a pastor that I want to show someone real and vulnerable who's trying their best to follow Jesus. I am also a stand-up comic. I've been doing comedy since 2009. Um, I took a break for a while, and then I did it. I went back on the road in 2021. I did shows for about a year, and then um, I did a roast battle against a deaf comic, and that kind of they put the two disabled comics together, and I really after that show, I really had this rubber meets the road type issue, and I was like, do I really want to be roasting people, and do I really want to be roasting other people with disabilities? And I didn't want to do that. I won that battle. Um, uh, he told his jokes on an iPhone, and he did. And my joke, I think that won me the battle is I said he can't hear it, but his iPhone is killing it up here. So that helped me win the show the my round. And but after that I took a break to really uh I to really reevaluate my life and my comedy and everything because my passion has always been pastoring. I was a lead pastor of a church for 5 years. Of a small country church. I do this ministry full time, Limping for Jesus. I'm working on all kind of things. So I had a friend of mine say, "I hope you're doing well." Yeah, I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. Uh, just walking that, walking that life out, right? Um, So on TikTok, I see people are joining. That is awesome. If you're just joining, this is what I'm calling Ask Pastor Mike. If you have a question for a pastor, go ahead, shoot away. And if my wife is still watching, I see her, she's still watching. Uh, Baby, if you want to ask questions too, go ahead. So, yeah. So, I'm just waiting for people to check to come on and ask questions. For you guys out there, we know how the internet is. I've seen some questions that were just trying to, bait me into arguments, and they were trolls. I mean, it's the internet. It's not going to be a friendly place all the time. If you don't know how the internet is, you shouldn't go on it, right? So I see people that join. Hi, I'm Pastor Mike Matthews. I'm going to say it again. This is my segment where I'm calling it Ask Pastor Mike. If you have a question, it can be about church, it can be about life, it can be about disabilities, it can be about relationships, it can be anything that you want to ask the pastor. Um, so I'm hoping to do this every Sunday night. This was just a test broadcast tonight to see if all my tech would work. I got to get a new tripod thing for my phone so I can interact both face on. But I see people joining. I saw someone join with. Um, what would you tell people who think they are too messed up to be a good Christian? That is a great question. I would say there's no such thing as being too messed up. God, those are the people God saved. Those are the people who realize they need God. The great example of that is I'm going to bring it up for us. Matthew in Matthew chapter 9, for you guys that are not can't see it on TikTok, there's the story of when Jesus calls Matthew to follow him. Matthew was a tax collector, so um, so in the New Testament days, first century uh, Israel, uh, they had two categories of the worst type of people. They had sinners and tax collectors. You got to be pretty hated to have your own category of sin, right? So the reasons why people hated tax collectors is because they were Jewish and they were working for Rome, taxing their own people, and that was outrageous to that culture. Well, Matthew is working in a tax booth. Jesus, who's supposed to be a pious rabbi teacher, calls Matthew to follow him. So Matthew throws a whole party of all his buddies, including tax collectors, other type of people outside of so-called religious life, the messed up people. And while they were eating dinner, the Pharisees, who were like the alpha team when it comes to religion during that time, here's what they said. Here's what they said. Verse 10 in Matthew 9, verse 10, it says, as Jesus reclined at the table in the house, behold, many tax collectors and sinners came and were reclining with Jesus and his disciples. And when the Pharisees saw this, they said to his disciples, why does your teacher eat with tax collectors and sinners? But when he heard it, that's Jesus, he said, those who are well have no need of a physician, but those who are sick. Go and learn what this means. I desire, I desire, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. For I came to not to call the righteous, but sinners. So the good people who feel like they got it all together, those are not the people that Jesus has called to follow him. Those who are messed up, those who are messy, those who are uh, they realize they need God. Those are the ones who Christ came to call to follow him. Many years ago, I did a wedding, and I sat down, and the bride's dad said, "Oh, Pastor Mike, you don't want to sit down by me. You haven't met a sinner. I'm messed up. You have not met anyone like me." And I said to him, I said, "Bro, you don't know me." So, so you hear it all the time. Oh, Pastor Mike, I can't come to church. The church will probably fall down around me, right? Listen, good people don't go to heaven. Saved people do. There's a lot of good people, moral people, religious people who die and they face Jesus and they didn't really know him. That verse I just read, I desire mercy and not sacrifice. What Jesus is saying is, I don't care about your superficial outward religion. I don't care. I don't care about it. I don't care that you never miss church on Sunday. I don't care that you can quote the Bible back and forth. I don't care that you volunteer your whole life, because it's all about outward appearances, right? There's a lot of people who are super religious, but on Monday behind closed doors, they're jerks to their family, they're unkind, they cheat, they lie, all that stuff, right? So Jesus has another word for this. When the Pharisees attack him later on in his ministry, he calls them whitewashed tombs. They look good on the outside, but in the inside, their heart is far from him. So I see on uh, that my internet connection on my mainstream is kind of unstable. This is why I did this tonight, because I wanted to test it. So probably if I'm looking choppy on Facebook, if anyone's watching on Facebook, if you could drop a line in the comment to let me know if it's still looking okay, still looking clear. It seems like I've been having some uh, issues with my stream on my Wi-Fi, so we're trying to figure it out. So I hope that answered your question. That was a great question. So uh, you are not too messy to be a good Christian. You're not. Um, we all have things to work on, even after you become a Christian. We are not going to be perfect. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I do not go to bed at night saying, man, I nailed that thing today. I was a perfect Christian husband, father, pastor. No, I always have things to work on, always have things to grow on. Our heart attitude, what God wants, is to have this attitude of learning and growing. That's what he wants. That shows maturity. But if we don't have any more questions, I wanted to go for about 30 minutes tonight to test out the equipment and everything. I'm not seeing any other questions going through. So follow us on TikTok at Michael J. Matthews. That's my main account. We have a backup account for our ministry where I'm going to post devotionals called Nimping for Jesus Ministries. You can find Nimping for Jesus on Spotify, on iTunes, on our YouTube channel. If you want to be part of our community, hit subscribe on YouTube. Please go do that. Rate us on Spotify. There's a option there where you can rate the podcast. But I hope that tonight has been you have learned more about who I am, and you have learned about. I hope that you were encouraged tonight. to the person that was asking questions. Uh, um, I know that um, I'm just gonna say I know that you were. Let's just say you weren't a troll, but you were a troll. I hope that you would see that even though you were trying to ask questions to get a rise out of me, I hope you saw that I was willing to interact with you and give you an honest answer. Like, so I want to thank everyone for spending the time with me tonight and on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook. God bless you guys. And until next time, I pray that you have a great week. Talk to you later. Homies, we got to go where people are. TikTok is one of the most popular apps right now, so we cannot be afraid to engage in that circle. Um, during that live stream, you never know what you're going to get. People were there were some questions that were just crazy, but I'm not going to be afraid to answer them. There was people asking me if I'm single. There was people asking me if God hates Mexicans. There were all that stuff, right? Um, you never know what you're going to do with. You never know what you're going to get with the live internet. But what I can say is, as a pastor, I'm not going to be afraid to have difficult conversations, and I'm not going to be afraid to say I don't know. So yeah, that's the chance you take when you try something like this. Um, I'm going to try to be during a Ask Pastor Mike feature so every Sunday night, uh, internet, Lord willing. But I want to thank a couple of my friends who stopped by to say hi. I want to thank Sarah for uh, uh, dropping some questions in the feed. I know that's going to help people. I know that people have a lot of hurt they're overcoming. This Christianity, we cannot be afraid to engage with people who disagree with us, who downright don't trust Christians, don't trust Christianity. People are deconstructing for a reason. Part of it is, and I honestly believe this, is that the church that they see on the pages of scripture, they're not seeing in real life. So I saw someone share a Toby Mac quote a couple of days ago that says, be the reason that people believe in God, not the reason why they hate Christians. Yes, there are people out there who are just, they seem like they just have venom in their hearts for God. Hurt people hurt people. So a lot of it has to be unpacked. And we can't be afraid to be called names in an online stream to reach someone's heart. You know, hopefully that person who was trying to be silly, trying to be sarcastic, they'll go away saying, "Man, that pastor was he kind of joked around with me back, and he didn't take it seriously, and he wasn't shaken by it." Um, so you never know how God's going to work in people's lives. So until next time, I hope you have a great week. Um, Stay tuned for the podcast this week coming up. I'll make a couple announcements. We have some great interviews coming up in the next couple weeks. I'm interviewing the couple that serves together in ministry. I am interviewing the pastor, and I'm trying to get my friend that's a comic to come on the podcast and talk about grief and humor and how you know how funny comes out of that real life stuff like grief. I always joke about people that have overcome a lot of trauma. I'm always like, congratulations, you're funny. So every comic typically has a story to that our humor was a coping mechanism. It's something that was formed in us. I am so happy that God gave me a sense of humor with the trauma that I have endured in my life. If you can't laugh, you'll go nuts. So I'm hoping to talk about that in the next couple of weeks with a couple buddies of mine. So yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed. Um, don't be afraid to engage. I can answer questions on Facebook, TikTok at the same time. It's all coming in at me. So if you see me going like a crazy, squirrel trying to look for a nut, it's because I'm reading all kind of comments. So until next time, have a great night, and I hope that your week, you'll learn that you are loved. Limp well, limp on, limp loved. Until next time, this is Pastor Mike for Limping for Jesus. God bless.